Alright, today I'm going to be talking about Obamacare and why, see if it was a good or bad choice for our country. Alright, imagine living in a world where you are told how to live, having a limit to the freedom you once had as a child. As of December 2016, the United States sacrifices the freedom of all over the safety of others. Our beloved country that we call home is essentially becoming the country we promised once not to be. Americans are throwing away their First Amendment we were once giving to a whole bunch of lunatic, crazy-minded, and corrupt politicians. The government is forcing every American to obtain health insurance. Good, right? But what if I say that there's a pretty hefty size fee associated with this program if not obtained? Crazy, right? Although most citizens would conclude that the government is just trying to help us out, in fact, it probably is. But in doing so, it is also throwing values and rights out of the door on which we were founded on. I strongly believe that having mandated health care is not the route to go as a country. Like one of our founding fathers stated, those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. I'm going to be explaining to the young, to the old, the wise, and the unintelligent on how Obamacare will affect the country. The violation of the Constitution, some strong valid points on how to fix this issue as a whole country, and the steps on denying laws like this one mentioned above from ever happening again. Obamacare, in my point of view, is not for everyone, and it will eventually end up affecting more than your health in the long run. Remember the hefty fee I mentioned earlier? Well, as of 2016, not having health insurance, as mentioned by the government, is going to cost you around $695 a year. That's about another home payment for some people. Of course, minimal health coverage is only needed, but still some people cannot afford this kind of payment. Apart from the general public being affected, businesses large and small are going to be affected. Taxes and fees are going to be increased for everyone, the rich and the poor. This kind of thing outrages me to the breaking point. As I read an article from BBC that informed me on how an allergy-suppressing vaccine costs as low as $30 in some other countries, cost, in comparison, $530 more in the U.S. That right there to me is not something we should be tolerating as a country, and we should probably asking ourselves some questions about what is the government really trying to do to this. As you can see, there are various flaws in this law already. But the way I see it is we can live with it or change it, and change is definitely in my plans. Bringing me to my next point, how mandating health coverage for all broke the main rule in our Constitution, the First Amendment. We as Americans are always bringing up the Constitution for various reasons. Some may be to stay out of doing jail time, and some may be to justify our actions. The First Amendment is a guarantee of our freedom. It basically denies government from mandating the American people from doing anything they want. Do you not see where Obama is able to get through the Constitution and virtually create a loophole in it? As alarming as this might seem, I'm not putting this together. I'm not making this up. This actually happened in real life. The free U.S. as we know it is becoming a dictatorship. Benjamin Franklin once warned us that in the past about something like this. As a nation, as a whole, we are supposed to learn from our mistakes, recognize what we have done, and turn it upside down to create the perfect world. History is bound to repeat itself, if not learn from its history. The human race seems to think that as every year progresses, we become wiser and substantially more educated in how we should live, not knowing that something that happened 200 years ago is about to happen once again. How does all of this relate to my main point, you may ask? It doesn't. This is my advice from a simple mistake that Obama was able to make. We can turn it around before modern politicians feel the need to bypass our Constitution. I would love to continue living in the country I was born in with the same morals and values I have always known. not living in a dictatorship, essentially. My third and final point as to why Obamacare should be reformed is not to benefit you or me, but the whole country. The future of our country could possibly be determined on this one law. I want to explain some ways on how we can stop something like this from happening again in the future. There's no going back in time to change this law, but there is something we could live for. Aggressively stating how much we need to inform our young adults, the young adult population, on the intention of the people running for government. This problem is not just Obama's fault, but it is our fault as well. We did a poor job in electing House representatives and senators to represent us. They were supposed to protect the people and ourselves with the Constitution, not oppose against it. We need to inform the upcoming electors everything about the government. Make it a requirement for crying out loud. Everything starts in the classroom. Let's empower the youth with knowledge so we can watch the nation succeed with triumph. Let's let other countries know why we deserve to be on top. Of course, it will take time to set up the perfect government and perfect country, to say the least. But these are my ideas on how to avoid a law like this from ever happening again in the future. I personally believe Obamacare is a disastrous law. We don't need it. We don't need it around us. We need to reform it. This is going to be one of the worst things that's going to happen to our future if we don't do anything about it, essentially, basically. So, from violations to just corruption, I don't know. These are just some of my ideas of what we need to do as a country. Obama, as good as a person I think he is, he did disrespect our founding fathers, a group of men in 1765 that basically signed our freedom away. Mandated health care is absurd and should be reformed. We need to stand up and take action against it. Letting superior personnel take power against to this level should not be tolerated. We the people control the government, so let's act like it and take action once and for all. Thank you.